Hello everybody. Welcome back. Today we're just going to be doing a quick little explanation as I reverse a custom authenticated process. Unprotected, obviously, unpacked. Um, so let's just jump right into it. The first thing we're going to, also, I should say, before we start, I was on vacation. That's why I haven't, uploaded in 2 weeks. Other than that, I just got back to college, so working on, stuff like that. But anyways, this is week 3, so first thing we do, we have these DLOs in here because there are necessities for this application to run, obviously. So we just need to keep these in the folder. First thing we do, always open up die, and we're going to drag it in. And we see it is C++, 64-bit mode, and if we go to NOS, shows us the operation system and the compiler. But yeah, so yes. Also, I would check virus total, but since we know this isn't a virus, we don't have to. So go ahead, open up our debugger, and you're going to go ahead and open the project and run it. Actually, let's restart. So as soon as we get here, we see what you probably saw in the last video. It looks a little bit familiar of entry point. We went over this and we went over here and how you could see the program here. But besides that, say we don't have that. First thing we do here, what are we going to do? We're going to search for strings, all user modules, and we see some things here: owner ID, hardware ID, expiry, stuff like this, right? We don't know what auth this is. This is some random auth, right? And invalid license, you are banned, you are admin, you're supervisor, account created. You know what I'm saying. And if we scroll down, looks like a bunch of, just, I guess, includes from the C++ library or C library that was included in this project, and it's a lot of them. But so we see our strings here, but in case we didn't see them, say we had just this pop up, right? We would do success or key, invalid key or license, stuff like this, and we see stuff like this. And yeah, this might look a little bit strange or danger, but it's actually not as hard as you think. So yeah, let's get started. So we obviously found the invalid license string. And by the way, next time I will be showing you how to do this without strings, because this is pretty much the basics. And I'm also going to explain the stack, what all of this stuff means, which would be a really long one. I'm thinking about 40 to an hour. So stay tuned for that. But for now, we're just going to go through this as if it was a basic crack me. And you will notice it's very similar to our hard-coded crack me's, and then but this is just authenticated, so it works a little bit differently, but in general this is pretty simple. Yeah, this is like literally just a crack me, so it's pretty short. But we have enter username, and we see enter password, which we haven't gotten to yet. Whoops. And we can scroll down. We have error validating license, we have success, this kind of stuff, UID, which would be hardware ID. Yeah, so we are going to actually, what we're going to want to do is set a breakpoint after. So after we enter our password, we want to set a breakpoint somewhere after. It doesn't really matter. But what I'm looking at specifically is, especially with a lot of authenticated processes, when you see them unprotected, you'll see always a call with a NOP under it, almost always. And it's just kind of like pattern recognition. That's usually where you want a breakpoint under, because a lot of time, especially in like things like key auth or just multiple different auths, they use the JSON library. For some reason, just always have a NOP under the authenticated request. But obviously, I'm just making a guess, so we wouldn't know. But I would, if I was myself, I would put a breakpoint here. And just because it's in between enter password and this jump statement right here, right? But for research purposes, we're going to breakpoint directly after enter password to see what happens. So let's enter our username. And I guess it hasn't displayed, our password yet. So let's see which one is doing that. This would be right here. So we're going to do it after. And we come out of this call. So this was displaying this, and so now we're here. What happens directly after? Well, let's see. We hit step over and we see that this didn't flash. If this didn't flash, that means no request was happening, outside of where we are now. So if another request were to happen, what you'll see, this thing will flash and come back, because it's actually your internet connection connecting, and this is waiting, and that's why it's kind of blurred, because it's in a different spot. But then it just reloads itself at the next line. So you'll see it in a bit here. Looks like it hasn't done anything here, and that is, you see that right there. So server's migrating, but you see how it flashed a little bit. So we know this one right here is usually authenticating. Looks like it's not a JSON library for response, so yeah. Anyways, we're going to redo. Now that we know which one is authenticating, this call right here, we can double click it and we can scroll down and we see a bunch of, a lot of stuff that, you may be really confused about, which is not a big deal. So by the way, go back to our IP, and we're going to enter, right? And we're here. We actually don't want the request to happen at all. So what we're going to do is nop. And the reason I'm nopping this is because we don't even want to make a request to the auth. So it's just not doing anything right now. The problem with that is when it tries to parse a response, most of the time, you'll run into a bit of exception errors, which you can bypass multiple ways, which I will show in later videos. But for now, we'll just assume that we don't have them because this loader is different, and it sees it's testing something and then not jumping. Where does this jump taking us? Invalid license. We don't want to go to that jump, so this is good. We are good. We are not taking this. And by the way, the reason I can see we're not taking this because this is gray and not red. And we see that this would jump right to here, success, and then this one, error validating license, and it would jump to what looks like a close, which we don't want. So we see that we are just going to assemble this, and with just spacebar and JMP, hit OK. Yeah, so now it will always jump to success, and it says welcome. And yep, as you can see, this stuff is going to be null because information is supposed to come back from the server after we authenticate, but we never made it a request in general. So actually, I'll open up MS Paint to explain it better. So what we did basically is we have the loader right here. This would be the client, and it connects to the server, which should be a circle, and then the server gives back a response to the client. And what we did is we got rid of this right here. So if this is not a thing, then this will never send a response because it never got something from the client in the first place. So that's why when it tries to give us, our owner ID, which is held in the server, I mean not our hard ID, our expiry and such, it's actually data that's being transferred from the server to our client, which didn't happen obviously because we got rid of this. So let's get rid of this. Let's just step over a little bit, and it's just kind of unnecessary, but it's just, as you can see, displaying our stuff again. And the reason it says 0 is because it's null. Null meaning just like nothing, right? And this shows us other stuff. Whoops, I actually had my thing selected, so it just kind of went there. Sorry about that. Yep, this is just a bunch of things here. And actually, as a bonus, we can make it say that we are an admin by simply changing our which I'm going to teach you right now, is our 0 flag. Basically what this flag means is when it's highlighted under, you'll see it's highlighted green. And if I click here, it's not highlighted green. That means the 0 flag is being checked or affected in some way. So we can check here, the 0 flag is being affected. All these flags are being affected, or they have the potential to be affected. And here, it is reading our 0 flag. So it's called a 0 flag because if we double click it, it's 0. If we double click it, it's 1. And as you can see, this line changes right here because it's actually changing it. And instead of, always assembling and going, instead of always assembling and going, JMP, right? You could just do this and move on. It's quicker, it's more handy, I guess. But it's not permanent, so you can't actually, patch the file. But, which I'm also going to be showing in a second, so. But for now, we are going to just assemble this because, you can use a 0 flag if you want, but for patching purposes, we're just going to assemble this. We're going to make sure that JNE, so if we are not an admin, it's going to say we're an admin, right? Kind of like works like that. As you can see, something's being compared, and then, yeah. But we could also, not this if you want. It does the same thing, right? And, yeah, it says we are an admin. We could also make it say we are a supervisor, which I'm just going to use the flag for because we don't need to patch it as a supervisor. Doesn't show us a rare band. Yep. All this works. And if we go to the return here, looks as if it's just paused for now. Whoops. Yep, and there we go. That's it. That is basically cracking a custom authenticated service. A lot of them do work like this, and a lot of them work differently. They look differently when they're packed. They act differently when they're packed. But don't worry, I assure you that I will 100% make sure that no matter what, you understand what to do in certain circumstances. I'll try to get with all the ones I can think of in my head that I've encountered. But for now, an unpacked basic custom auth, that is basically how you'd crack it. And obviously using logic, so we can actually scroll up here. Oops. Using basic logic. Ooh, kind of scrolled too far up. If we go ahead, we can actually, if you were paying attention in the last videos, this problem is kind of useless. But if you were actually paying attention, you would already know how to do this. And this is kind of just a short one, just in case, kind of recapping what I went over more in depth on the last video. But yeah, for now we are just going to step over, and as you can see, we have come out of the call, and then it's eventually going to jump to exit, which is just obviously means we're going to exit, right? So yeah, that's basically it for custom authentication. Nothing too big, but obviously important that you understand everything that's happening and why it's happening when I explain it, because yeah. Also, this file.dlub came here because it's this was trying to download this. Oh, I also forgot to show you 1 second on how to patch a file, which is what we're gonna do right now. So give me a second. Let me, oops. Invalid license. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Give me a second. Yep. Okay. There we go. So when we're patching something, what you're going to want to do is go to File, Patch File, and Export. This is basically a 1337 file, and this is what you want to do if the application is packed. If it's packed, this is what you want to do. So you can name it whatever you want, like, right? And then, we don't have a packed file right now, so this is just kind of showing you what this does. Then you could do file, patch file, import, and you can import it, saves your patches, and if I, did what I did, look, see, it works. Now we can do this again. I'm going to show you actually patch file. If you do file, patch file, whoops, I have to import my patch file first. We can do, file, patch file. We can rename this to, right here. This would be, we can name it to, let's say, cracked.exe, right? boom, boom, boom. And if we go ahead and run the application, God, I keep doing this, it's so annoying. If we could go ahead and run this, as you can see, everything works fine. And if we were to run this one normally, the uncracked one, it's going to give us this. So yeah, that's basically it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you've paid good attention, and I will see you in the next one.